Hi everyone, this is Allie. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm taking part in the Friendship Card Hop put on by Courtney Krieber. She is trying to help some of us new YouTubers get some new subscribers. I'm so excited to take part in this, and I really appreciate her and the others' help in learning more about YouTube and trying to get our videos out there. So for my video, I am going to be doing some embossing with a stamp set, and I made some of these alcohol ink panels with my daughter. One day we just sat down and decided to play and see what we can come up with. So these were some of my favorites that we did. So I'm just going to give you a brief look at those, and then I'm going to pick two of the panels to do my cards with. So I used the Concord and 9th Wonderful Florals Stamp Set. I have the die for that as well. I'm just showing you here I used my Versamark, and I already have it set up in my Stamparatus. I not a really good idea because I used Yupo Paper. These are the Tim Holtz alcohol inks, and what I find with this is the panels stay kind of sticky, and I didn't pay attention to that, so I had put my stamp in there and then I had to go do a few things, and it actually discolored my stamp because it stuck to it, but it doesn't inhibit anything with the stamping, so as long as my stamp works good, I'm happy. But now it's kind of stained orange. So first I embossed with like this sparkly embossing powder. It was supposed to be like a white sparkle, and it didn't really come out once I embossed it. It really didn't show on there. So then I ended up using Simon Says Stamps white detail embossing powder, and that came out much better. It actually was kind of pretty though because it kind of stayed a little bit sparkly underneath, because you'll see in the second card I just used the Simon Says stamp, and it came out much whiter and brighter, where this took on a little bit different of a color because I had that glitter under there. So I forgot to use my embossing buddy bag, and I actually didn't get a lot of stray on that one, which was surprising since it's so sticky. So as you can see, I make a mess usually, so I'm going to clean that up with my heat tool. Sometimes I use a coffee filter. Sometimes I just grab for whatever paper's near me that I can use. So I have my Stampin' Up! Shammy that I clean my stamps with. I like to clean them right away, just because you don't want that sticky ink to sit on your stamp. So I have this nice and heated up, and I'm trying to go kind of fast over the stamp because that type of paper, you can burn it very easily and it starts to warp very, very quickly. So I got a little warping up in that corner, so I'm going to try to even that out a little bit. But in the end, once I used my die to cut that out, it really didn't do any damage to the paper. So then I took my Scotch 3M foam tape and I put a very generous amount all over the back of that. I'm probably going to put this card in the mail, so I didn't want any of the edges of the die, since there's a bunch of little pieces of petals and leaves. I didn't want it to sink. So I did a ton of that on there. Usually I'm more of a recycler, like I don't like to use a ton of something if I don't have to, but so I just grabbed a piece of cardstock that I had in my stash. Most of my cardstock is from Stampin' Up, so if I can find the color, I'll go ahead and put them down in the description. And then Stampin' Up has these faceted dots, and they're so pretty. They're like a matte, but they glimmer, and they do have the facets in them, so they're very pretty to add. So I just added a few of those on the card. I just wanted my panel to stand out, so I didn't want to do much else to the card. And then I decided, since I had a lot left, I decided to emboss a few extra flowers, and you'll see in the end I'm just going to stick them inside the card. It says wonderful on there, so inside of it I'm just going to stamp the word friend. And I just wanted to decorate that up a little bit. Sometimes I don't always decorate the inside of my cards, but I felt with this one that I wanted to and it would look pretty. So as you can see, I've had this stamp set for a long time. And I never got a chance to use it, so I have to cut apart all those dies to use. And I just have, I don't even know what they're called, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people use snips, like jewelry snips, and I just went to Home Depot and bought those. They're actually a little too thick. I have to buy some of the jewelry snips, so it's a little bit more flush, but it works in a pinch, so I use my purple tape to run through my Spellbinders die cutter, and it worked perfectly on that paper, and it flattened out those flowers, so they came out very nice. So I know there are a lot of videos on this hop, so I didn't make this video that long. I'm sorry if it kind of feels rushed through, but I didn't want a very long video for you to have to sit through when these were pretty easy cards. So there I have those little flowers, and I love when you do the alcohol ink panels that you can kind of stamp on them where you want, like what colors you want. So you can kind of position your stamp and then extra ones, you know, to kind of get some of the colors that you're looking for. So I use Catherine Pooler ink, so I grabbed one that matched just perfectly with the paper. So I'm going to go ahead and get that stamped in there. And I usually stamp everything twice. I don't feel like you really have to, especially with her inks, which are very vibrant, but I think it's just one of those habits that doesn't die. So this was my next panel. I just did the same thing. I stamped that on there. Like I said, I just used the Simon Says Stamp Fine Detail powder, which I love. And then because I know I'm going to want those little extra flowers, I decided to do that next. And I'm just positioning those where the colors that I like, because I like some of those turquoise more colors and some of that purple. So I wanted to kind of catch some of that. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I actually remembered to use my embossing buddy there. I don't know if you're like that, but I keep trying to move that embossing buddy like to all different areas so I will remember to use it, and I hardly ever remember to use it, no matter where I put it. So I have decided I think I'm going to stick it right on top of my Versamark ink, and I think that will probably be the only way to make me remember to use it. So I don't know, but I just always have an issue with that. So now I'm going to stamp the inside of this card, and I'm doing everything just the same. So I'm going to stamp that word friend right in the middle there. And I grabbed another Catherine Pooler ink that matches. And I think I use Grape Crush. I'm probably going to show it here in a minute. And then I got something on my panel, so I was trying to get that off. But it's going to cover it with the ink. So I don't know, never fails. I always get something on my white cardstock that I have to get off. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp that down. And I think I'm going to have to buy some re-inkers soon. I've had my ink pads for a pretty long time now, and I haven't needed it, but I don't generally color with them like some people do, like watercolor or color cardstock, because I have too much cardstock I need to get rid of. So I don't think I go through that much ink as someone who does that would. So I went ahead and put those inside of there, and as you can see, I kind of lost that footage there, but I'm going to flip it open for you to see. And then again, I'm using those same faceted dots and just putting a few of those around there. And it worked out perfectly with these colors. I was so excited, like it just went together. I love those days when everything you pick just kind of goes together. And I apologize if you see all the scratches on my arm. That's from my kitty. I was just playing with them. So those are my two cards. I hope you liked them. Thank you so